to End of the Line. This is episode 2, and thanks for tuning in. If you guys listened to the first one, we really do appreciate it. If this is your first time, then welcome back, or welcome for the first time, I guess. I'm Bill.
I'm AJ. Hopefully you guys caught our Periscope before we did this one.
You know, the Periscope actually was pretty fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a really good time.
AJ, why don't you actually explain that game a little bit better so they understand?
So the game we played on our Periscope, if you haven't caught it, you should check it out. It's on our Periscope, same as our Twitter End of the Line pod. Basically, it's a game called Watch Your Mouth, and what you do is you use these cheek extractors that are from a dentist's office. You can order them online in packs for like $5. And you read these...
And actually, he ordered the 250 version, which were used. Slightly used, so...
Hey, you got to save that money somewhere. So we went ahead and washed them and used them. And we read these lines, and people were trying to guess what we were saying. It turned out pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, mine had teeth marks on it. So, it was a good time. Watch the Periscope. I mean, we did it for about an hour and a half.
It was a lot longer than I expected, honestly.
And, it started out a little slow, but more and more people jumped in, and they were really kind of enjoying watching us, try to say these words. And they were participating. We got some great audience participation. They were trying to guess the words and some of the things. I mean, some of those lines that we had to say were pretty vulgar, and it was fun. It was just a lot of fun, and the audience really enjoyed it. Now, that game itself, Watch Your Mouth, it's not a real game, right?
No, it's totally a real game. In
Okay.
fact, you can order cards that come pre-printed. We ordered the $3 version where you can print off the stuff yourself. So they have a normal version, and then there's a version it's for adults that has the more vulgar statements that were actually, I thought, a lot more funny than the just normal statements. So keep an eye out for more Periscopes from us. We're looking to do a few more of those, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people really seem to enjoy it. Somehow I earned the nickname the White Harambe.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't. In fact, my new T-shirt coming in soon will say "I am the White Harambe." No, I actually, it's funny. I actually forgot who the hell Harambe was.
Yeah, I completely forgot.
And I had to be reminded that he was
man.
the gorilla that was shot in the Cleveland Zoo or whatever.
I felt pretty terrible that I forgot that. Already.
Yeah, I mean,
already. It's not been that long.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, the nation went a little crazy over it, and I understand. I mean, yeah, it sucked. It's funny the kind of social media things that people go nuts over. Some of the most important things in the world people don't even care about.
Very true. Very true.
But the gorilla, people went ape shit over it. You get it? Ape shit?
Oh, okay. I got you. I see what you did there.
That was terrible. But and it was sad. I'm not trying to downplay it, but I forgot who Harambe was, and then somebody called me the White Harambe. I don't know if I should take that as an insult or a compliment.
I think you should take it however you want.
Yeah, and I'm taking it as a compliment.
Perfect.
I am a large gorilla-like man, so I'll just take
more gorilla than man.
Yeah. So, here we are, second podcast, really just coming off the cuff. We really don't have too many stories going on as like we did last time, where I kind of just unleashed a fury of bullshit on you guys.
A shit storm, if you will.
It was a shit storm, a shit fury of stories. But
you just couldn't hold it in anymore, is what it was.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was really hoping that people would send in some of their crazy stories.
Well, maybe as we get some more traffic, people will send in some stuff.
I really hope so. I'm looking forward to really seeing it. The thing is, years ago, there was this website. I think it's probably still online. It's ratemypoo.com.
I've never been to ratemypoo.com.
Yeah, check it out.
Is this like another lemon party type?
No, it's not. It's not a lemon party at all. But people actually take pictures of their crap and they submit it online, and then other people
rate it.
Other people get to vote to see how good that crap is.
That's pretty good. Actually, speaking of that, real quick, sorry to derail us here, but have you seen on Reddit and stuff the people who say roast me?
Oh,
and they send in their pictures. Have you seen that?
I'm actually scared myself to do it. I want to, because I just want to see what people say, but I don't know.
What if the first thing they say is the White Harambe?
Oh my God! Look, it's the White Harambe. I mean, and about Harambe, for some reason, I thought it sounded like a genie's name. It was like
from Aladdin.
Yeah, or even like, remember Jambe the genie from Pee-wee's Playhouse? I don't know if you remember that show.
Yeah.
But I thought, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe like they think I'm like a magician or something. But no, I was the white gorilla essentially.
Oh
but
my gosh.
I got excited for a second because I thought it was cooler than it is. And then
I thought it was just some Spanish word I didn't understand. I was like, all right, dude, whatever.
the white Harambe.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, with the Reddit thing, I go on all the time, and I mean, some of the things people say, it's extremely clever. The roast that people come out of that. My favorite, one of my favorite sayings I got out of the roast me thing, and I've used it since then. I try to find a way to just use it in normal sentences when I'm describing somebody. Was that girl's face was longer than a game of Monopoly. And
it's a very specific thing to try to use in everyday speech.
Everybody can relate to that because
I can agree with that. Yeah,
not one person has said, "Oh yeah, it was just a real quick game of Monopoly." Like Monopoly lasts forever.
Actually, when I was growing up, we had house rules that had like it was a speed version of Monopoly. One of the things was we eliminated the ones right off the bat. None of this counting one bullshit. We rounded up or down depending on where it was at.
See, that's the cheap way to play.
No, it's not the cheap way to play. It was the speedy version, and it still took like 2 hours.
Yeah, the regular version, I mean, usually you play Monopoly until somebody flips the game board, or call somebody else a cheater. I don't think I've ever played a game of Monopoly where somebody didn't call either the banker or the real estate guy a cheater at some point.
No, I completely agree with that. In fact, me and my wife almost got divorced one time over a game of Monopoly. So we don't play games like that anymore, really. We play more of the co-op type games,
Wow,
like Pandemic or whatever.
If it only takes a game of Monopoly to just cut those ties.
Well, so actually, the story behind that is we had some board games. We'd already started playing, whatever, and I think we played Monopoly, and my wife beat me in that, so I was kind of pissed. And then we played Dominoes, and she's like, I've never played Dominoes before. So we start playing. I'm like, oh, sweet, I'm going to beat her. Whatever, I'm going to be able to redeem myself from Monopoly. No, she beat me, like, ridiculously, like, by a lot. So, of course, I'm like, you fucking cheated, you cheated, and you never played this before, you fucking hustled me. That's what happened, and I'm sticking to it. And she got all mad at me, and then, I was mad because I lost, and then mad because she was mad at me, and it was just like, all right.
Well, it started off with a game of Monopoly and ended with her finding out that I fucked her sister. So
that escalated quickly.
So we almost got divorced. But it's what's funny with the Dominoes thing is I actually got in a huge fight with my sister over a game of dominoes. We were in, and she's probably listening to this now, and she does not want to relive that day. But I got to talk about it.
Did you do waterboard her or something?
Man,
were you cheating?
It was pretty close. We got we both were a little out of line. I'll take fault finally years later for being out of line.
Okay,
but we were out in a Starbucks. And we got into an argument over the rules.
You guys were playing dominoes at a Starbucks?
Yeah, we played dominoes in Starbucks.
Is this when you guys were like 80 years
cool.
old? Or
no, we played dominoes at Starbucks before it was cool.
Okay,
we were the hipsters. of
now you
dominoes.
just sit at Starbucks with your typewriter.
Now we just call it bones. We're playing the bones. But no, we were playing dominoes.
There's a few places downtown you could play some bones too.
And she came down. She was actually visiting me when I lived in Hawaii. We played dominoes, and it escalated over an argument about the rules, and it got so extreme that we got. I raised my voice in Starbucks, and we got into a yelling fight a little bit. And needless to say, I had to drop her off at the airport like 5 hours early to go home, and she just. That was the last I saw of her for like a long time.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. Dominoes.
That's almost better though, because me and my sisters just don't talk. So there's nothing to yell about because we never talk about anything.
So Jen, if you're listening out there, I'm sorry. This is the first time you'll hear my voice in years. No, I'm just kidding. We've been talking.
This is the only chance you get to hear an apology, though.
I don't think we've ever played a game of dominoes since then. Her and I
can't imagine why.
Used to be very competitive in dominoes. I mean, I guess we've been very competitive in a lot of things we did growing up. We were both ruthless to each other. I
think most siblings are like that, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think we were to some weird extreme. Like she would actually, my mother would have to buy like a box of Pop-Tarts for each of us, and like she would have each of our names on it because we would like when one of us would run out, we'd dip into the other person's
You know,
Pop-Tarts.
there's 2 Pop-Tarts in one pack, right?
Yeah, I understand that, but over the course of like a few days of eating Pop-Tarts, you would end up just eating the other person's stuff. Or it'd be like, oh, you ate all my Pop-Tarts and stuff like that. And so it came down to a point where my mother would label each, and we'd each get our own stuff.
That's nuts. I would never do that for my kids. In fact, I'd be like, oh, you guys fighting over the Pop-Tarts? No more Pop-Tarts. Problem solved.
Yeah, well, you know, she catered to our feuds.
That's called an enabler.
No, she secretly liked it, I think. She
You know, they didn't have good TV back then, probably.
She dropped meat in the lion's pen and just sat back and watched them rip each other apart over it. You know, love you, Mom. But it was, you know, and the thing is, I was an asshole, too. My sister would eat hers, and I would purposely just not eat mine and wait. And then when she was done, I'd be like, I still got mine. And I'd be like, oh, let me just go toast a chocolate fudge Pop-Tart for myself. Oh, these are so good, Jen. Hey, why don't you have one? Oh, never mind. You know, and I was...
That's such a dick move.
And I don't know. I don't know why I did it. I mean, I still do it to my kids now. No, I'm just kidding. and they're 3 now.
Well, they deserve it. They're kids. They got to learn somehow.
Yeah, they learn the hard way. But yeah, sibling rivalry, and obviously we got spun off of that.
So speaking of bad TV, you notice we're doing a lot of remakes these days and nostalgia pieces.
Yeah, you know, it's Netflix is really... I'm a big fan. This Netflix brings a lot of stuff back that probably shouldn't ever come back, but I don't know. I just like seeing it again, you know.
So, I don't know, man. I'm kind of on the fence. So I tried to give Fuller House a chance, and I wasn't too impressed. So the only guy of the 3 original cast members... of course, John Stamos is the best looking and like most put together looking one.
Yeah,
Joey and freaking what's his name?
Danny.
Whatever. The guy who played Danny Tanner. They both look terrible. Freaking Danny.
Yeah, well,
Danny looked all drugged out the whole time.
I think they're like 80, and they haven't done shit since the last Full House went off the air. The only person that has done anything is John Stamos.
It's true. That's true. Have you seen his show that he's on now?
No, I know he did.
It's called Grandfathered.
Okay, he was
very
he was
good
on
show.
Glee for a little bit. I remember
Really?
that. Yeah, and then he did something else.
I can't say that I watch Glee avidly.
Avidly.
Do you?
Define.
So real quick, my wife talked me into watching the first 1 or 2 seasons of Glee. So she's like, if you watch Glee with me, I'll watch Star Wars, right? This is when we first got married. She just barely watched Star Wars with me like last month. We've been married for 5 years.
So you had to watch an entire series of shows for her to commit to 6 movies.
Not even 6 movies, just 1.
Just 1 movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems really fair. I mean, that's...
No, it's not fair at all.
Yeah.
That's what marriage is like.
You know, my wife and I made an agreement, too, that I wanted her to read 1 book Inside Delta Force. It was a military kind of historical book. Okay. It was really good. It talked about, you know, the formation of a special operations team you know, back in the 70s, and what's cool about it, the television show The Unit that was on like NBC like years ago about a special ops unit was based on Inside Delta Force. Awesome book, you know, check it out if you're into that kind of true story military stuff. I told her, if you read that, I will read, you know, I'll read Twilight, okay?
She actually made you read Twilight.
So I read the entire series.
You know they made movies, right?
They did make movies, and I'm a bigger fan of movies. In fact, I think Twilight was the only book I've read in the past decade.
So you won't read awesome books that I know you'll like, that I've recommended, but you read Twilight. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't have sex with you, AJ. So there's give and take in my relationship at home. And if
all right, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not willing to go there just to get you to read a book.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of movies. I say, you know, people always tell me, oh, well, the book's better. Well, ignorance is bliss. And if I don't know or care that the book's better, I'll just read or watch the movies. Well, I did watch the movies with her too, but I've also read the books. And that was back in 2010 or 11 that I read those books.
So I've never read the books. I have seen all the movies though. So I watched them all with my wife. They're mildly entertaining, I would say, you know, for those types of movies, I guess.
No, they actually suck. I love vampires. Twilight fucking sucks.
You can't look at it as a vampire movie. You really
no,
can't.
no, it is a vampire movie.
I know
it's
it is supposed to be. I'm just saying
it's
more like you can get through it if you don't think of them as vampires.
And
that's what I'm saying.
That main actress. I know we're rehashing stuff from like 6 years ago, guys. This is 2016. We're recording this podcast and still talking about.
This is going to go in a time capsule.
It's still talking about Twilight here, but that main actress, whoever the hell that is, I forgot her name, but she sucks.
Kristen
Stewart. Yeah, I keep thinking.
Well, she's got pretty much one face.
Yeah.
And one tonation in her voice the whole time.
Yeah, it's just,
I get it.
stoic nothingness.
And if you are listening, Kristen Stewart, please feel free to write in and tell us what you think.
Yeah, or send topless photos. I'll take either one. But,
you can probably already find those online, I'm sure.
Yeah, and the thing is, actually, you know what? Fuck Kristen Stewart. Ever since that bullshit that she tried to say about the military.
Wait, what was this?
She bashed the military a bunch when she made that movie, like Camp Nowhere or something like that. She made some movie about Guantanamo Bay, and when she made that movie about Guantanamo Bay, she completely like bashed the military and a bunch of stuff.
I've never even heard of that movie, so that probably says a lot.
Yeah, so you know what? I'm not even gonna hold back. Fuck her. But and her Twilight movie sucked. She's a shitty actress. And I had to read the books that her shitty movies were based on. And then I read all 4 of them, by the way.
There was only 4 at the time?
There's 4 books. I think there's only 4 books.
Is there?
Yeah, I think that's it.
They made like 8 movies.
Well,
how is there only 4 books?
Because they keep breaking shit up. They would go part 1, part 2. It's Hollywood makes more money that way.
All right, whatever. I would never.
But my wife never read Inside Delta Force.
Well, of course.
And she promised me she'll never read another book until she finishes that book. I even offered to read it to her as a good night bedtime story.
I would love to see that happen. Like I want to sit in.
It was 1977.
In my onesie with my pillow. I'm just gonna sit there and just listen.
Terrorists were running rampant through the world. A special operations team.
You know what we should do? We should do a spin-off here, and we'll do narration for books.
Oh yeah,
audio narration.
Yeah, I think we should, and maybe even what we should do is audio narration for like sexy books and like
50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
We should just record it and then send it in like, hey, here's an alternate version of the audiobook. Hope you guys like it better than the original.
You can play the female role in 50 Shades of Grey for the audio version.
Why do I have to be the female?
I have a deeper voice. I'm the White Harambe.
I can have a deep voice.
I'm the White Harambe.
All right, fair enough.
I'm like a magician. I don't even know how we got on this subject. It was way off of like.
Hey, it's not about how we got there. It's the journey,
right?
It's
the journey. Welcome to End of the Line. Like we said before, it's all about the crazy weird shit you see traveling along the bus route or the subway route. So anyway, watch our podcast. You should find it funny.
Probably listen to our podcast.
Watch our Periscope. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. And watch our Periscope and listen to our podcast.
Hey,
and also coming soon, our
audiobook series.
Our audiobook series, starting with 50 Shades of Grey. Actually, let me tell you real quick. With 50 Shades of Grey, my wife got so mad at me because she was reading the series, and I would actually walk up behind her, and I would look over her shoulder, and I would start audio narrating it over her while she's reading it, and like I would do these like Mr. Grey touched his inner thigh and told her, "Come closer," and she's like, "Just stop it, please." I'm like, what? This doesn't turn you on? I'm like, isn't this the voice you're thinking of when you're reading this book?
Probably not. And what if she's attracted to just like Mr. Grey touched the inside of his upper thigh and said, "Come here."
Yeah, the voice she thinks of is Ned Flanders from The Simpsons.
Little hi-leo there, neighbor.
Doodly-doo. She touched his doodly-doo.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. So I used to do that. She would get so pissed off at me. Most of my life is just finding ways to get my wife, see how pissed she can get at me, and then just dialing it back down and just telling her I love her and hoping my marriage stays together.
That sounds like playing with fire.
One
day you might wake up with some parts missing.
It hardens the soul. And it's really good. for the marriage. I think it takes it to a new extreme. But with that being
next, coming a book series called Extreme Marriage, marriage tips by Bill O'Donnell.
But what you were saying before is the remakes.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So, yeah, I understand with Fuller House is back. My wife is super excited about the Gilmore Girls thing, which I think I would rather take a fire poker to the anus than watch an episode of Gilmore Girls.
I would agree with you. So if anyone's ever seen that show, no one in their right mind talks the way these people do. Like, they talk really fast and then instantly have a response for everything somebody says without even skipping a beat.
Well, I'll disagree with that. If you go to the Northeast, people, and I'm originally from...
Is that how people talk in the Northeast?
Yes, I'm originally from Rhode Island, Massachusetts area.
How do you even have time to process what the person just said before you talk?
We're much...
Is it just people waiting to talk?
No, we're just much smarter in the Northeast.
I don't know if that's true.
Faster brains, a lot of Ivy League schools.
Just because they're there doesn't mean that the people from there...
osmosis of the area. I mean, if you live in or around Harvard
I'm
area,
from the Southwest, by the way.
I can definitely see that.
Oh yeah, is that what it is? Okay.
It's for whatever reason, a quick retort. People talk fast.
No, it's not. It's not that it's witty. It's like they'll have this really in-depth, complicated subject they're talking about, and no one takes 2 seconds to consider the words. Like, they'll be like, "Oh, I have AIDS," or "Sorry, let me do it the right way. Oh, I have AIDS," and then someone will be like, "Oh, that's cool," and they'll just start talking about it.
And because also in the Northeast is nobody actually listens to what the other person says; they're just waiting for their chance to talk.
Right, which is what I assume that is happening.
And
so
that's how
they're
it
each
is.
having their own conversation with themselves.
I mean, you watch Family Guy. I mean, Family Guy is probably the closest thing to what my childhood I grew up with is seeing all around me.
No wonder you're such a bastard.
But that's just how it is. I don't know. It's I've lived all over the country now, so I'm not gonna just I'm not really knocking everywhere. I've lived in Florida, I've lived in Hawaii, I've lived in Texas, I've lived in Las Vegas. Every part of the country is different. Every part of the country is unique.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree with
the
that.
Northeast is it's its own beast, and I mean, I actually had friends come in from the Midwest and stuff like that to come and visit me in where I lived, and grew up, and they sat at a dinner table and could not believe what the stuff they were hearing as we, one girl that was a good friend of mine, she was like, "I wouldn't say this stuff to my worst enemies, and you guys just throw it around like it's big jokes, and with that being said, as I moved through the country, and I took my sense of humor and kind of brashness everywhere else in the world, people couldn't relate to it, and I was just deemed the asshole. And I got in a lot of trouble for my sense of humor and a lot, just
that's pretty funny.
But it was so well accepted, and that's what I grew up with. And I swear a lot. I always drop the F-bomb in most inappropriate places, and I always joke around. I say, well, if you think my mouth's bad, you should hear my mother talk. The only thing she can't stand is the word cunt, which is one of my favorite words. So sometimes I'll actually call my mother on the phone. I'll be like, "Hey, what's up, you cunt?" And she just loses her mind at me. But I find it funny, and other people cannot believe that I would do that or say that to my mother, but it's funny, and even my father joins in on it, and if I'm talking to him on the phone, he'll be like, "Oh, Bill, don't call your mother a cunt," and she'll be in the back, "What the fuck did he just say?" And but it's
terrible.
It's just our weird, sick sense of humor that a lot of people in the Northeast share.
Well, some people kiss each other's families, so I guess that's something.
Yeah, I mean, that we got that going for us. We don't kiss each other on the mouth.
Yeah, that's weird, dude.
Like the West Virginia
that's
families.
Real weird.
Anyway, visiting West Virginia, you see the weird shit they do in there.
I guess.
No offense to our 2 listeners in West Virginia.
Hank and his sister wife, Janice.
Yeah, thanks for finally getting electricity to be able to listen to this podcast. We really appreciate it. I know it's tough on a dial-up modem. I've had friends in West Virginia, and one buddy actually, he was in the military. When he went on leave, they'd ask for his address, and he, no shit, didn't have a physical mailing address.
What was it, like some fucking tree or something?
He lived out in a farm in really rural, kind of West Virginia.
Even those places have addresses, though, don't they?
He had no mailing address. His mailing address itself was a P.O. box that everybody in the town just had to show up for. And
okay, that makes sense.
So I think he might have had an address, but it wasn't a mailing address.
You know why? It's because the mail people don't want to drive out to the boonies to deliver the mail, because it might be like a wrong turn type situation.
And then the banjo music starts.
Right, yeah, and nobody wants that to happen. So real quick, going back to what we were talking about. So I don't care what anybody says. The like 3 or 4 episodes I've seen of the Girl Meets World show. Have you seen that at all?
No, I thought it was a good idea that they brought it back, because I liked Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World was amazing, and I actually don't think this one's too bad. Obviously, it focuses on Corey raising his daughter.
Is Topanga still hot?
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I really care
about. Of course.
I mean,
it wouldn't be worth making if she wasn't.
How weird would it be to watch the show and masturbate to it? I mean, would that be weird? I mean, Topanga's hot, right? I mean, because I think
it would depend on, like, at the point at which you were being caught, who was on screen. So, like, if his daughter was on screen, or, like, Corey, for example, was on screen, that might be a little weird.
Might be. Okay, so as long as we're in the might be section, I mean, that's worth the risk. I mean, it's I could hold it in and just wait for the good moment.
You could wait, yeah.
Pause it at Topanga. I'll just pause it. I can do that.
There you go. Yeah, no, she actually looks really good, and I'm sure it's probably due to plastic surgery. That's how most people do it these days. But who knows? Maybe not. I don't know. But.
So yeah, I mean, with that, the remakes, I'm a big fan of them. Even if sometimes I don't even, like, I heard about Girl Meets World, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that they're bringing it back for the new generation to really enjoy. And it was good in that sense, but I never actually took the initiative to watch any of it. But I do like remakes, and I know a lot of people are going to, kill me for this. Whenever they make remakes, and reboot series entirely, like the Total Recall. Now, nothing's going to beat the original Total Recall.
I think it was a good movie on its own right, though.
But the new one, it was good to just see it back again.
If you look at it as a separate movie, so like some of these remakes, you have to look at them as a separate movie, because a lot of these directors will take a different spin on it, and you can't compare it to the old movie, because obviously it's the old movie, and the director, different director, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at them, compare them, yeah, of course they're not going to be as good. But I really liked the new one, and I of course, like the old one. But the new one, it was a good movie in its own right. Bryan Cranston was amazing as the villain. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I think Bryan Cranston does pretty amazing things at anything he really does.
Especially in that sweet Preparation H commercial he was in back in like the 80s. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
It's amazing. You should look it up.
I will have to
Everyone look up Bryan Cranston Preparation H.
I will have to check that out.
It's hilarious.
But, the new Star Trek. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I liked all the original Star Trek, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine,
So I never watched the original show. I grew up with Deep Space Nine. Who watches that? I grew up with
I liked
Deep
Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine was like the weird redheaded stepchild of Star Trek.
Voyager got weird because every episode just became the same bullshit, and then they ran out of ideas, and they took my favorite.
I remember growing up watching Voyager, expecting at some point one of those females were going to take their shirt off. As a teenage boy, that's what my hope.
That was your big hope.
So I kept watching.
You may have tuned into the wrong channel because it wasn't going to be on UPN.
Dude, fucking UPN was the shit.
Yeah, I think UPN is now the CW or something. So
I don't know what it is.
It's really
UPN was like.
It's really gone downhill.
Man. It was awesome. I liked UPN. I watched all the shows on
there. Yeah, and Voyager, it's just my favorite. I loved the Borg in Next Generation, and then they introduced it into Voyager, and then when they ran out of ideas, they were like, well, what if we just do an episode on the Borg? And it was like 80 episodes on the Borg, and it just got like way too overdone with the Borg.
Yeah, okay.
The Borgs, the Borg were great because of their, they were so mysterious. They were so creepy and weird. And then it just started getting like wicked, way ridiculous. Except 7 of 9 was...
Started getting wicked weird in here.
Except 7 of 9 was phenomenal. And I love Jerry Ryan, who played 7 of 9. She was just gorgeous. I was in love with her.
Oh, yeah,
as a kid.
No, she was amazing, yeah.
And, speaking of Star Trek, though, they just did the 50th anniversary of the Star Trek convention here in Las Vegas.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, and it's actually going on.
Man.
It's going on this weekend. You know, and I would have loved to go, but we're going out of town tomorrow, so I won't be able to make it. But you know, they have like tons of people there. But out of every Star Trek member that is there doing autographs, who do you think is the most expensive autograph to get?
William Shatner, right?
One would think, right? No, William Shatner charges $100 for an autograph.
That's reasonable.
Somebody charges more than that, in the tune of $150.
Geordie LaForge.
Nope, LeVar Burton, I believe, is around the $70 or $80 level. It is Whoopi Goldberg.
What the fuck was she?
Guinan in Next Generation, the bartender.
That's because, whatever.
So,
Whoopi Goldberg is kind of a self-righteous asshole.
Whoopi, if you're listening, that's all AJ. I love you, Whoopi. AJ thinks you're a self-righteous asshole.
Have you ever listened to her on The Voice or whatever the hell show she was on?
She was on The View, not The Voice. She's not a singer.
Sorry, The View. My bad. Whatever.
But she has a...
I would actually like to listen to that.
I want to see her on The Voice in her character as Oda Mae Brown from Ghost, the psychic lady. You know,
no, it's all about Sister Act.
And Sister, phenomenal. Yeah, she could probably tear it up. I forgot she was even in Sister Act, and she was the main character.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing is, with that, you know, Whoopi's been in a ton of movies. William Shatner, I mean, other than Star Trek, name some...
Yeah, but William Shatner's like an icon. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I understand. He is the absolute face.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. Whoopi Goldberg is like pretty recognizable.
And she went on to do a lot of other things.
Yeah,
so
okay.
It was just surprising, you know.
I never would expect her to even show up to like a Star Trek convention, though.
Yeah, I know.
Realistically, I mean, these other guys, like you said, William Shatner. Like, what else does he have? Priceline. Like, he's not gonna. They don't have Priceline conventions.
Yeah, was he Starsky and Hutch? Right?
No,
maybe. No, wasn't
no.
he? He was in something, some other show.
No, I don't.
Some other show from the 70s with an H. I can't remember. I
really don't know.
Yeah, he was in something, some other TV show. We
really should do some research, I think, and figure this out.
Well, I'll look that up later.
Or you guys can like yell at us through email.
Yeah,
or something.
Somebody else can do an IMDb search for me and let me know.
Yeah, just tweet us and be like, "Hey, dumbasses, it's this."
Yeah, he was in this TV show, but you know, William Shatner charges $100. A couple of other ones charge around that, but Whoopi's in the $150 for an autograph of Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know
if that's worth it.
If I could personally justify that,
you could take a picture with her at least. Is it like one of those type situations?
I think
or is it literally just she has a picture of herself and she just?
I think it's a picture of herself and she signs it. Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah, that's how a lot of the Comic-Con stuff works out. And
I don't know. My dad went to Comic-Con and met like half the cast of Walking Dead and got pictures with them.
You can take pictures of them, but what they actually autograph is their own.
Okay.
Obviously, just the way that photographs work.
I get.
The
way the photographs
work.
It
just would not be available.
I think I've taken a picture or two before.
Yeah, even unless you have some old Polaroid, film around, it just would be a little difficult.
These are like studio quality pictures that they have.
But is it a picture?
They're framed.
Is it a picture with him?
Yes.
And autographed.
Yes.
Maybe he went to another second Comic-Con.
This was Comic-Con in Phoenix. I promise you, it's real. I've seen it with my own eyes.
I bet he autographed him himself.
Maybe.
I don't
know.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. It's possible.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I maybe they print them out right for you and you bring them right up.
Maybe it's one of those things where they develop them and you come back later and get them and then they sign them. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Comic-Con does happen over a few days and
that's true. That's true.
Stuff,
and there are Comic-Cons all over the place. I know San Diego Comic-Con just finished.
That's supposed to be the real big
one.
That
is the huge one. You actually have to put in your name like a year in advance to purchase.
We should try to go to that.
I think next year we should try to shoot for a press pass. The only problem is to get press passes, you actually have to have a certain amount of listeners. So that's where we
get us to Comic-Con, folks.
Yeah, get us to Comic-Con. It's only a quick, easy drive from Las Vegas.
Oh, how about this? If you guys can get us to Comic-Con, we will dress however you guys. We'll have a vote. Everybody can put in suggestions on what we'll cosplay as.
Yeah, we'll end up being like Comic-Con face or something like that.
the white Harambe over here can be
because that's how internet
Sailor
voting
Moon.
goes. If you don't know, like internet voting just goes to the worst possible. Name this bridge, Bridgie McBridge face. Name this boat, Boaty McBoat face.
Those were pretty good names. I'm just saying.
We
could do is we could list a few options of like, hey, these are some things we
and
can
never
go as.
do a write-in. Okay, that's the trick. Never ask for a
Well, yeah,
write-in.
because someone will pick Dick Butt.
Yeah.
Someone will inevitably pick Dick Butt.
If anybody goes to Comic-Con dressed as Dick Butt, it is definitely AJ. He fits that mold of being Dick Butt. I see you.
Why am I? Just because I'm tall.
Yeah, because I'm the goddamn white Harambe.
That's what we should go as, Dick Butt and the White Harambe.
People have no idea. They'll be like, "What are you supposed to be? Why are you dressed as why are you dressed as an albino gorilla?" I'm the white Harambe.
You have to wear like a name tag, like "Hello, my name is White Harambe."
Look at this weird mutant white gorilla. This albino gorilla here.
And does anyone outside the military know what Dick Butt is?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course. It's
all right,
all over.
all right,
It's all
all
over Reddit and stuff. So.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense.
What do you
all
think?
right.
The military invented Dick Butt?
I don't know, dude. I'd never heard of Dick Butt until like a few years
Yeah,
ago.
it's all over Reddit. Speaking of Reddit, let me just jump in real quick.
Oh, we're turning to that kind of podcast?
No, it's
Let me get Reddit up here. We're going to talk about something real fucking weird.
No, it's not Space Dicks. By the way, if you want some weird shit, go to the subreddit Space Dicks. You'll see some weird stuff. But I just wanted
It's
to...
mostly dicks.
I wanted to throw
That's
this out
mainly what
there.
he looks at on the internet.
I saw this, oddly enough, it has to do with dicks. So,
I told you.
AJ doesn't know what I'm about to say, but I saw it on Reddit, and I know this is an old story, and I've seen it, like, probably going back about a year now, but every few months it pops up again, and I find it hilarious about this. So, it's a fun game, and I'll challenge the listeners to do it. Call an auto parts store, tell them you need a water pump gasket for a 1997 Toyota Tacoma.
Okay.
Tell them you were in another store earlier and you were given the wrong one and you want to be sure they have the right one. Ask them to describe it for you. So that's a 1997 Toyota Tacoma water pump gasket.
I feel like we should do this on the air next time.
I think next time we should, and ask them to describe that water pump gasket. And I'll let the listeners go ahead and take a look, but it looks like a cock and balls.
It literally looks like a cock and balls.
And so when they have to describe it on the on the phone to you, that's you'll get some pretty inventive.
So I think our next podcast we're gonna do this live on the air. I think.
Yeah, I think we should definitely give an auto. It's very late at night right now. Everyone's closed. But next time we'll actually do.
We'll start with that.
Yeah,
we'll start with a winner.
We'll kick it off with that. And I think we'll get some inventive answers. And if you guys do it, you can also jump on YouTube. You can see some other people's prank calls to, auto parts stores. So they might be catching on now since it is kind of an older prank. But I've seen
Maybe it's just old enough to where people will forget about it.
Yeah, like when when everybody was calling up the GameStops asking for Battletoads or something like that, or something. I think it was Battletoads, something Toads. I can't remember.
Well, Battletoads is a game, but what?
But
are you
everybody
talking
was calling GameStop asking for it, and it just got out of hand.
like, why is that funny?
I don't know, but
hey, guys, you got Battletoads? No, sorry, man, we don't have Battletoads. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just
I don't get it.
The random shit that just takes off on the
I
internet.
guess. I mean, Battletoads. What was it? Was it Street Fighter versus Battletoads, or like, I don't know. I remember playing that game though. It was fucking just two toads and then two dudes, a blonde guy and a brown-haired guy who were like dressed as ninjas, and they all were fighting each other.
That was Ninja Gaiden.
No, it wasn't. Come on, it wasn't. I'm not that retarded. It wasn't Ninja Gaiden.
No, Street Warrior or something like that had the blonde hair and the black haired guy. That would
it was that game versus Battletoads is what it was.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
anyway,
that's so that's the latest thing. I just saw it again, just probably before this podcast, and I just every time it pops up online, I laugh at it because a Toyota Tacoma water pump gasket looks like a cock and balls.
It is pretty funny.
And Google it, look at it, see it. Hard to masturbate to, probably. But
that's how Bill rates things.
But it's possible.
How hard is it to masturbate to?
I always ask that question to myself. Hey, it'd probably be difficult, but not impossible.
Schindler's List. What's your rating?
Ooh, that'd be a difficult one. It just depends on the scene. Maybe that the Porta-John scene where they were under in the little hiding in the little hole with the shit and stuff. That might be a little bit, if you're into that. I don't know. I mean,
speaking of the German Scheisse Nazis,
somehow we got to bring the German Scheiser porn industry into each of our podcasts. And just so you know, we squeezed it in there last second.
Or squeezed it out of there.
So, of course, you want to throw out the Schindler's List of masturbation possibilities. Sorry to all the... it's not a laughing matter, but... life is meant to be...
the subject matter of the movie obviously is not a joke, but it's a sad movie.
Yeah, next thing you know, we'll have a bunch of protests outside of our podcast studio. And then over but like I said, anything goes. So
we'll
please
find something funny to throw on the protesters.
Please don't get offended. I value my life.
Well, if you do get offended, just realize this is one of those podcasts where we just say random stuff. So
yeah,
please have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, the goal is to really just go crazy, and I'll leave us with one last kind of tidbit of fact today. So by the time you listen to this podcast, it'll be a couple days from now. But we are recording this podcast on August 5th. And did you know that it is the Curiosity rover's birthday today on Mars?
Really?
August 5th. And every August 5th, alone on Mars, the Curiosity rover sings itself happy birthday.
That is extremely depressing.
It is really depressing.
Does it sound like Hal, like when he's singing that song and he's like slowly dying at the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey? It's just happy birthday to me. How sad.
I don't. I can only imagine, like, if there really are, like, some weird, like, underground aliens on, like, fucking Mars, like, they've been hiding forever, and they're just, like, they don't want to pop up, ever and get seen, and they all of a sudden just hear this sad robot just sing, happy birthday
That's so depressing. I feel like they could make an entire movie just about that.
And then there's like, a good 5 seconds of sobbing.
Sobbing. Why'd you give this robot emotions? That was a terrible thing to do.
Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time at the lab. He was telling us jokes.
Except he sent me a suicide note last week.
His entire camera lens is all fogged up with tears. He cries himself to sleep every night when the sun goes down and kills his solar panels.
Oh, it's terrible.
poor Curiosity rover. But the official. I think there's 2 rovers on Mars right now, right?
Okay.
So the official population of Mars is 2 robots.
Well, that we know of.
That we know of. I mean, they're finding like germs and bacteria in the water in Mars, and
I think it's amazing they found water on Mars.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah, and what's crazy? I mean, it's very far away, but they found water not too long ago, and they just fucking found water on Pluto not too long ago, which is like 18 million times the distance.
We're getting closer to Total Recall times. We could be living in tubes on the surface.
I mean, first step, bacteria on Mars. Second step, human beings. Third step, profit. I don't know how that correlates, but speaking of bacteria in water, last thing, we gotta go, but the fucking Rio Olympics is an absolute shit show. It's starting this week. I think they did the opening ceremony.
Is everyone shitting themselves?
Dude, the actual, like, the water that they have to do the rowing in. So, before even going to the Olympics, a lot of countries backed out of even having to go because it is so polluted. The water is just absolutely polluted that countries said, we're not even competing in that event because
a lot of countries, they just throw all their trash in the water. They don't really know any better.
And so now a lot of the swimmers, or not swimmers, but the rowers and stuff are actually getting weird bacterial infections and lesions on their skin from all the bacteria. Things are just an absolute chaotic mess. And just yesterday, for the opening ceremony, they were trying to open the stadium up, and the one set of keys that they had, they lost them.
How do you only have one set of keys?
They could not get into the stadium, and if you look it up online, you'll actually see the Olympic officials using bolt cutters on a fence area, and that's how they got into the stadium, because they were locked out of the entire Olympic stadium.
You gotta feel torn as an Olympian, because you train so hard and so long to get there, and then when you get there, it's just like a fucking trailer park, and you're like, man, do I really want to be here? I don't know. I can't imagine what's going through those guys' heads.
I commend the athletes. They put a lot of work into it, but the Olympic committee keeps on shunning the United States and has done it for years.
I just feel like they could present a lot better for these guys because they work so hard,
Yeah, I can only imagine like the athletes that are like, "Oh, this is awesome. We're going to Rio," and like when you think of Rio, you think of like the
You think of
carnival.
one tiny part of that place.
Yeah, you think of Carnival. I think of that stupid little cartoon called Rio and how beautiful it looked in the cartoon.
Yeah, except the slums they drove through.
Yeah.
Does everyone forget that?
I don't even remember. I didn't actually watch the movie. I just watched the trailer, and it looked cool.
Sure, everything that Pixar makes looks cool.
Yeah, it looked beautiful. So it's but then they set up the Olympic Village in in the middle of nowhere shithole area of the city.
So,
and interestingly enough,
what they thought they were going to get turned out to be like District 9, basically, is what you're saying.
and they gave the I think they gave the Olympians 42 condoms each.
Why 42?
I don't know. That's an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
Maybe they factored in the amount of times that they guesstimated they would have sex during the course of the thing, and I bet it was like a $3 million study by scientists to determine how many condoms each Olympian should get. But
at least hopefully they're not used. That'd be terrible, right? Sorry guys, we couldn't afford new ones.
No,
they've been cleaned.
But when they're done, they just toss them out in that same river the paddlers are going in.
Oh, perfect.
Because to get rinsed and
they're
used,
spermicidal.
And used
It'll kill all the bacteria.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an absolute shit show going on in Rio. Look forward to Michael Phelps' return to the Olympic stage.
Oh yeah.
After getting banished by the United States for
Did
smoking
they actually
weed.
take his gold medals?
I don't think
I know they were
so.
trying to.
Oh man, I don't think so. I mean, what a slap in the face that would be.
Well, I mean, regardless of him doing drugs and stuff, he still earned the medals.
Yeah, he did. Even
just like that one group that was trying to take away Bruce Jenner's medals that he won in the 70s.
Oh, really?
Because now he's Caitlyn Jenner.
No shit.
And some lady was trying to say that because he was, taking whatever the hormone is to transition to a female.
Yeah.
That it gave him some sort of advantage, and someone replied to her stupid thing because it was on petitions.com or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, dummy! If anything, it would give him a disadvantage." So, realistically, this guy was competing with a handicap, and he's still.
I don't think he was
got a
taking
gold medal.
He wasn't taking the hormones back then in the 70s, though.
Yeah.
Oh well, I don't really follow the whole Bruce Caitlyn Jenner.
I remember reading it.
I don't really care
a while back.
With Michael Phelps, I mean, yeah, he got caught smoking pot at a party. Turns out he's been a big pothead. Turns out that he probably was smoking weed just before his swim meet, and they would actually just put a cupcake on the other side of the pool, and he would have the munchies, and he was just breaking records left and right to get to that cupcake.
You know what that reminds me of? Okay, so there was this guy that I was in the military with, huge fat guy, ridiculously fat. And the only way they could get him to pass this PT test is someone would stand at the end of the line with 2 cheeseburgers from McDonald's and be like, "Hey, man,
no way.
I swear, I've seen this guy take 2 liters of soda to the face in less than 5 minutes."
And no shit, they would actually stand there with.
Yes, and that
would be his motive.
And he'd pass his PT test and then fucking chow down.
China, if you're listening, that is why you will succeed in this world.
He's not in the military anymore, but he was, and obviously now with the new PT standards.
Me being a veteran, and and you as well. That's a little disheartening. It is.
It's terrible.
The thing is, are there overweight people in the Air Force that are, and Army and Marines and Navy that are trying? Yeah, there are. And it happens. But to really just be such a slap in the face that you would have to motivate the person with cheeseburgers at the end of the finish line of their run.
The weird thing about this guy is really his motivation was weird because he was just lazy, but he actually had natural talent to be able to compete in things. I played softball with him before, and he was one of those types of dudes who could hit a home run every time, but when it just came to actually maintaining a decent diet or some sort of fitness regime, he didn't even give a shit. And that's how they were able to get him to motivate him to get him to
but he passed his test, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that is shocking. There are things in my day that I hear about the military, myself formerly being in the military, and that not many things shock me anymore. That's one of them. I've never heard of that in my life, that somebody would,
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it before.
Almost really need that the carrot on the stick to, but instead it's like the hamburger on the stick.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it either.
That is ridiculous, and I can't believe leadership that's the downfall. That's the downfall of the U.S. military.
They don't care as long as you pass, right?
I guess so. It's just all a number, right?
Yep.
So anyway, you now have had to listen to us speak nonstop for about 50 minutes straight.
Oh, wow. This is way longer than expected.
Way longer than expected. We're going to try to stick to about 30 minutes each time, but we really appreciate it if you guys stuck into the end. Feel free, jump on our Facebook, drop us a line. We have Twitter. End of the Line Pod is our Twitter account. End of the Line Podcast is our Facebook account, because we could actually use more characters on Facebook. And then End of the Line Pod is our Periscope, obviously linked to our Twitter. So we're going to try to keep them all active. A lot of social media going on. Drop us a line. Let us know what you think.
Follow us on Periscope so you can catch our hilarity on there.
Yeah, and if you got any ideas on what we should talk about or different topics, like we said, every month or every few weeks, whenever we do these podcasts, they're going to be a little bit different each time. So we really look forward to hearing some stories from you guys and see where we can go with it.
Yeah, and of course, any comments you guys have on any of our previous stuff, we'd love to hear that stuff too. So.
Yeah, and well, thanks again, and if you donate to the cause at endoftheline.us, any donations, we said that $100 donations, $100 or more gets a signed 8x10 photo. Each photo will be unique for you, autographed by AJ and Bill, and then I believe what was your other lower tiered reward?
So under $100 donation will get you a signed End of the Line tampon. Sorry, not tampon, my bad, pad.
Yeah, Maxi Pad.
Yep.
So, maybe not Maxi because it's a brand name. We'll probably use like a Walmart Equate brand or something like that.
Whatever's awesome.
Yeah, and anything under 100, but let's over $5, we'll say.
Yeah, okay.
So you can't just give us.
It's got to cover postage, I guess.
Don't give us like 8,000 penny donations and expect 8,000 signed tampons. And next thing you know, I'm declaring bankruptcy because I made a verbally binding agreement to give people signed maxi pads.
I would say that anyone listening to this should not take anything that we say as a verbally binding agreement.
That's a good disclaimer. Let's put that out there. Yeah. So you never know. I mean.
There's a lot of shit we say. Some of it we mean, some of it we don't.
Yeah, I mean, half of it's true, at least. So
that's all it has to be.
Yeah, as long as it's half-truth somewhere along the line. But, yeah, thanks for listening if you stuck around to the end. Otherwise, have a good one, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for tuning in to the End of the Line.
See you next time.